There are three main areas for top-end noise for the twin cam, Evo, and Sportster motors. They all share the same rocker arm, shaft, and design. The most annoying tick is the rotation of the shaft as the rocker arm rotates. The next problem is rocker arm in-play. Although this tick is not as annoying, a lot of people notice it after the rocker shaft tick is eliminated. A lot of times you can see witness marks on the bolts. Notice the lines are vertical. If your marks are horizontal, that is caused by the rocker arm shaft rotating and hitting the bolt. Due to the coefficient of thermal expansion of the two different metals, aluminum being almost twice that of steel, the aluminum base grows almost 4/1000ths of an inch at 300 degrees, increasing this in-play even more. I want to show you how to set the in-play using the rocker locker in-play cutter. Recommended minimum in-play is 3/1000ths of an inch. We get that figure when we put the rocker arm assembly in the freezer as the aluminum contracts more than the steel in the cold. If we have an in-play of 12/1000ths and we want 3/1000ths, we have to use a real thin shim. The problem with these thin shims is they wear through and disintegrate into the motor. Recommended minimum shim thickness is 20/1000ths of an inch, so the rocker arm towers need to be machined to accept a thicker shim. There are plenty of cutting discs to do a top end. If you need more discs, you can cut them from a belt sander belt using an 1¼ hole saw on a drill press with some wood underneath. We want to place the shims on the non-load side. We do not want the shims acting as a bearing, but acting as a spacer. So that's the side of the tower that we want to cut. The non-load side of the exhaust is on the pushrod side. The non-load side of the intake is on the valve side. This information is on the Rocker Locker web page. It is a good idea to mark the tower you are cutting. You can see it's still tight here, and it's time to use the 120 cutting disc. You want to sneak up on the final fit, clean your parts, insert the shims, and check your in-play at the bottom. After you've done the other rocker arm, it's time for final assembly. You want to clean your parts completely. Parts washer if you have one, or sink with the hottest water available. You cannot be too careful. Use assembly grease and assemble, making sure of the correct end for the placement of the shim, and a final check of the in-play. Then it's time to install your rocker lockers. Use your alignment tool, insert the rocker lockers, use the bolt to pull them in. Make sure you use a washer, otherwise they will not pull all the way in. One final test that I do is put them in the freezer. When you pull them out, they will be stiff but still have a little in-play. The last thing to check is push rods hitting the tubes, especially if it has adjustables, since they are fatter than stock. Many times you can grab the tubes and you can move them around and feel if there's any contact with the motor running. You can also see wear marks on the push rods when removed. Usually they are going to rub towards the exhaust or valve side.